is good chat. Better about to kill her husband. Realizes his wife is still breathing. Let's get to it.
Yes.
What the fuck is going on?
Jimmy Allen. Jimmy just discovered his wife's body in the basement of their Michigan home. 18 minutes earlier, he placed this 911 call.
Okay, what's going on there?
She's in the basement.
Somebody called.
Pulled her up. I tried to give her CPR. I pulled her up and
The dispatcher instructed Jimmy to continue giving Amy CPR while several units rushed to the scene. Officer Ben J. Horn was the first to arrive. Despite the desperation in Jimmy's voice during the 911 call, it was eerily silent as Officer Horn approached the residence. However, as soon as the officer made himself known, Jimmy began crying out for help.
Oh, heck no. Oh, no. Just make sure chat, this isn't in 1080p, but oh no, what? He just left the door open to the house? Oh no, oh man, chat, I'm just saying, pretty good how I said, hey, I cannot be a cop, cause oh no. This is like this looks like a setup.
Jimmy was found in the basement, sobbing over his unresponsive wife's body. As he grieved, he continued performing CPR.
How long's she been down? Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea?
Can't be more than about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Oddly enough, Amy didn't have any significant injuries, except for a very faint mark near her jugular. By 8:57 p.m., more officers arrived along with several EMTs. They piled into the basement to take over Jimmy's life-saving efforts. Now that Jimmy had a moment to process what was going on, he dramatically...
This is crazy, I ain't gonna lie. I've never in like all my childhood, I've never been in a basement, never had a basement, nothing like that.
And continued to observe the EMTs aiding Amy. Jimmy alternated between complete composure and emotional outbursts several times.
You want to come upstairs with me real quick? Okay.
As you can see, Jimmy seemed calm as he walked up the basement stairs, but as he entered the kitchen, he unleashed his wrath onto an unsuspecting bowl of potato chips. The officers weren't sure what to make of this erratic behavior, especially since they had no clue what led up to the discovery of Amy's body.
Did she make any statements at all?
No,
Jimmy gave the officers a quick summary of his and Amy's night. At around 6:30 p.m., the couple dropped their daughter and her friend off at a nearby high school football game and then headed downtown for some drinks. While at a bar, they got into an argument and Amy ended up walking home alone while Jimmy drove home in their car. When Amy got back home, the arguing continued, so he left her alone to cool off. He went upstairs and threw on the Jim Carrey film Ace Ventura. When it was time to pick up their daughter, he went to check on Amy again.
I was irritated and I didn't hear anything, so I went back down and checked on her.
Does Amy have a history of anything like this? Nothing in her background at all?
Ever.
Okay.
The officers found it strange that Amy would escalate things to this degree.
Okay, Chad, that's why. I was like, why is the quality so bad? 2018, so.
I'm hoping I wake up, dude.
Unfortunately for Jimmy, this was a nightmare that he wouldn't be waking up from. But suddenly, an EMT emerged from the basement with a glimmer of hope.
Huh? What?
Says she's fighting.
Yeah, you did it, bro. Chad, we got him. We got him. We got him. Look at Chad. Y'all not like. Y'all might not think like he doesn't look surprised or anything like that, but you can. Hey, if you really, he's nervous, Chad. He's nervous. That's why he's messing with stuff. He keeps like walking around, fidgeting and stuff. He's fidgeting with his arm. Those are signs of like, you feel me? Not mean stress, but somebody being nervous and whether they're lying about something. And you can obviously tell right here. You can tell. And then when they said, "Oh, she's fighting,"
Huh?
He's like, "Huh? Like what? She's still alive?"
What?
Says she's fighting.
The EMTs were...
Nah, see, that's not the right response too. Bro's talking about, dude, what? How in the hell did this happen? No, bro, like if this is his wife, bro. If this was my wife, oh, I'd be distraught. I'd be panicking and everything like that. Bro is just like, oh, how could this happen? Like, how could this happen? Like, bro, what?
Able to reestablish a faint pulse, so Amy was still clinging to life. But when Jimmy realized that his wife was still breathing, he seemed frustrated by this promising news. His reaction immediately set off red flags for the officers. Jimmy then left the room momentarily to grab a new shirt. And
like when they told him, oh, she's still like breathe, like she's fighting for life, he was like, you should be like, oh, thank God. Like
he called his daughter Ashley to inform her of the emergency.
We had an emergency. Don't go anywhere. There's an emergency. Don't go anywhere. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Jimmy didn't want Ashley to panic over the phone, so he kept his composure and didn't share any details of what had happened. But right after that phone call, he called his parents and spilled his heart out.
Oh, I don't know what to do, Mom. I don't know what to do.
Oh, he's an actor for sure, chap.
This is terrible.
He's an actor for sure.
Although
I ain't
Jimmy
buying
was
it though.
crying his heart out, the officers spotted no moisture on his face at all. They decided to have him wait outside, away from the crime scene. Shortly after, Amy was placed on a stretcher and taken to the back of an ambulance. They rushed her to the ProMedica Herrick Hospital, just 2 minutes away. The EMTs were finished in the basement, so the officers headed back inside to do further investigation. Now that the dust had settled, they immediately noticed something strange. The basement ceilings were very low, so low that they began to question the logistics of Jimmy's story. Amy was 5 foot 6 inches, and the basement ceiling wasn't much higher, roughly 7 feet. But rather than jumping to conclusions, the investigators decided to wrap things up for the night. The next morning, Officer Horn and his partner returned to the Allen household to ask Jimmy some more questions. They hoped to get a better understanding of what led up to the incident. According to Jimmy, the family started their day in high spirits by making breakfast together and getting Ashley ready for school.
Just listening to music and making lunch and breakfast, smile on her face.
At around 7:30 a.m., Jimmy left for work and Ashley left for school, while Amy stayed home. Jimmy decided to leave work early, so around 12:30 p.m., he came home and took a nap. Then, at 2:45 p.m., the school day was over and it was time to pick up Ashley.
Ashley had a friend over, Kayla, after school. Amy picked her up and I was just kind of in bed. And they came here, she made everybody dinner, 6:30. We rolled out to take them to the game.
After a nice family dinner, everybody hopped in the car and drove to the Tecumseh High School for the football game. As mentioned before, Jimmy and Amy dropped off the girls and decided to head downtown to go bar hopping. They first went to Ember's Bar and Grill, then to JR's Hometown Grill and Pub shortly after. Investigators would
who?
Off the girls and decided to head downtown to go bar hopping.
Oh, okay, the
they
parents.
First went to Ember's Bar and Grill, then to JR's Hometown Grill and Pub shortly after. Investigators would later confirm this part of Jimmy's story by obtaining the security footage from JR's. Apparently, nothing seemed out of the ordinary until Jimmy brought up the idea of selling their house and moving down south. Since the family had just moved to Michigan from Florida 1 year earlier, Amy was not fond of this idea. She began texting someone on her phone and became dismissive of Jimmy's comments.
She said a couple times.
No, that's a crazy move. Like, literally from Florida to Michigan, and now you want to go back, like
down and negative, and we started to disagree about it, and she's like, I hope that works out for you. And I'm like, what do you mean, me? I'm talking about our life, and this isn't hardcore planning. This is like, you talking about.
And then chat, I watch I watch a lot of crime documentaries and stuff like that, whether it be Netflix, and then even on YouTube and stuff like that, a bunch of like body cams and all this stuff like that and investigations. It's crazy how when a person like kills somebody, like whether it be a boyfriend or girlfriend or even a wife in this situation, she ends up living. Is always, the stories are always similar. It's always similar. It's either it starts with an argument, like it always starts with an argument, or something else, but like it's always an argument. Like the stories always sound similar. Like, I know you did it based off what you're telling me. Like, I know you did it because like the story just sounds too, like, it just sound like come on, chat, like it's too good to be true.
Jimmy said that this comment sparked an argument between the two. By the time they left the bar, things were very tense. Amy decided that she would rather walk home than sit with Jimmy.
It's like, I literally, like, you can't, chat GBT literally can make this script right now as we speak. Bros literally said, oh, we had an argument, dropped my daughter off and her friend at the game. Okay, we started arguing and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, 1 minute, boom, and all of a sudden I see she's laying on the ground. Like, what?
Longer. This was also confirmed by this surveillance footage, which captured Amy walking down the street, heading in the direction of their house. Amy arrived home at 7:58 p.m. She grabbed an extension cord and then went down to the basement. At 8:05 p.m., Jimmy decided to go check on her.
She's petting Louie, one of our cats, and what the hell are you doing in the basement?
Apparently, Amy was angry at him for slamming the door in her face as they left the bar. But according to Jimmy, it was just an accident. He did forget to hold the door for her, but he didn't slam it intentionally. Amy didn't believe that it was an accident, so she started throwing insults at him, and the two proceeded to argue for about 10 minutes. Nothing good was coming from this argument, so Jimmy went back upstairs, leaving Amy in the basement with the extension cord. About 25 minutes later, at 8:40 p.m., Jimmy realized that it was time to pick up Ashley from the football game. Before he left, he went back to the basement to squash the beef with Amy.
And immediately do that and started, check for a pulse. When I glanced down there, I saw there looked like a upturned kitty litter pail.
Huh.
Because I'm like, like I said, it was just so...
Also, too, you can tell he's leaving out details too, because if your wife's in the basement,
The officer
obviously
asked
you
if there
should
were
hear
any
her
signs
in
that
there.
something
There's no
like
way,
this
okay,
might-
you're watching TV, okay. There's still no way you can't hear, or if it's the basement is right under the living room where you're at watching TV, there's no way you couldn't hear her fall or anything. There's no way. There's no way. You're leaving out
But Jimmy
details.
said that he could never
I'm
have
telling you,
seen
you're starting
this
that up, Chad.
Spent all night kind of thinking and playing back what triggered what was.
Has she ever tried anything like this before?
Never had anything ever. Like, we live a healthy lifestyle. We work out. We go rock climbing 3 times a week in Ann Arbor. We cook meals at home. We grow our own vegetables out here. Money trouble. No, I mean, this is like the pinnacle of best job I've ever had. I make great money. She's a stay-at-home mom. She takes care of the 5 cats, the pool, and is there for my daughter doing sports and activities.
Sure.
The officer then asked if he and his partner could do a more thorough search of the home, and Jimmy agreed. With the help of their new recruit, Louie, Jimmy's cat, the officer scoured every room in the household, hoping to find any clues that could explain last night's incident. They weren't able to find any bombshell evidence, but they did collect several items that belonged to Amy, including her computer and cell phone. Following their search, Officer Horn headed back outside to speak with Ashley. She was visibly shaken up by the incident, but the detectives needed to know if Amy and Jimmy had a history of violent altercations.
Were your mom and dad fighting at all yesterday that you recall
No, but everything was normal when I left.
when you left?
Why are you asking this is, I don't know, Chad, I'm not a police officer, so I don't know, you feel me? I'm just asking the question, but why? I would think, if you're doing investigations and stuff like that, that you would take the daughter away or ask the parents to, you feel me, go away so you can interview the daughter, you feel me, by herself. So that way the dad isn't not even coaching her, but influencing her, because she's asking these questions, because they leave as right in front of the dad, oh, were your parents fighting yesterday? And if she just wants to, because she loves her dad so much, or she's no, lying, no, we didn't do that. What?
Okay. Is there a history of the fighting or arguing?
And it
or
looks like
that?
that's the mom as well of
Nothing like
the father.
Okay.
The officer also asked about Amy's state of mind, but Ashley said that even though her mom was a deeply introverted person, she had always been emotionally stable. This interview wasn't as fruitful as the officers had hoped, but shortly after, they were approached by several of Amy's family members. They said that Jimmy waited 14 hours to tell them about the incident. As soon as they heard the news, they rushed over to the police department because they had an abundance of useful information for the police. The investigators learned that back in 1997, when Amy was just 13, she had a son named Caleb. Her parents looked after Caleb while she attended
13? Wait.
13. She
Having a kid at 13? Chat, that's just great. Wow, I get like my mom had my sister when she was 18, but like, and I can get like the lowest I've heard, chat, is like 16, but 13 in middle school having a kid, that's like the beginning of middle school. Cause high school, you start high school when you're like 15. 15, yeah, 15. Cause it's 4 years, and well, like 15, 14. So actually, no, she'll be like a ninth, wait, 6, 7, 8. She'll be like that's like a 7th grader having a, bro, what?
He had a son named Caleb. Her parents looked after Caleb while she attended high school in Ocala, Florida. By the end of high school, she began dating Jimmy, who had no problem becoming a father figure to Caleb.
Where the heck is the... So she has... Where... I'm just so confused, Chad. This is just like, wow. Okay, so she has the kids at 13. So where's the father of the kid? What happened to the kid?
When Amy was 19, they had Ashley. And from that point on, Amy stayed home to take care of the kids while Jimmy worked. However, according to Amy's family, this wasn't her choice. They believed that Jimmy was a controlling husband who didn't want Amy to become financially independent. He would monitor everything the family did, from their social media.
Hold on, okay, I get what the family's saying. Didn't want her to become financial, like, you feel me, like, be independent, you know what I'm saying, be an independent person, whether she wants to go start a business or something like that, or work and make money, have her own money, and then be established by herself. But I mean, she kind of really, you know, ruined that when she had a kid at 13 and then had another kid with him at 19. So it's kind of like how, you know what I'm saying? Like,
media activity to what they were eating throughout the day. He would also discipline the kids if he believed they were misbehaving, frequently taking things too far. Whenever Amy stood up to Jimmy, her opinion didn't seem to matter. Whatever Jimmy wanted, Jimmy got. So when Caleb turned 17, he left to stay with his grandparents. Jimmy retaliated, telling Amy that she was no longer allowed to speak with her family, including Caleb. One of the last times Caleb saw her was at his high school graduation a year.
And then, Chad, this looks like this what they're talking about kind of sounds like a non-abusive relationship, but where like, if what the daughter is saying is true, she's very introverted and like, you know, she's emotionally stable, but like, Chad, in a relationship, like, when it seems like she's the person to where he's very controlling and stuff like that, and she can't really express her feelings. She's so introverted and like she keeps everything inside that she's just gonna do automatically what the father like wants to do.
But other than
like
that,
basically controlling them, like almost like a robot where she's not even doing her own stuff. Not even having her own emotions.
If an abusive and controlling husband tried to murder his wife. But if the police wanted to bulletproof their case against Jimmy, they needed to answer one big question. What was Jimmy's motive? Unfortunately, before the investigators could answer this question, they received tragic news. On September 17th, 2018, after being unresponsive for 3 days, Amy was taken off of life support and pronounced dead. With a possible homicide now on their hands, the authorities pressed on with their investigation. They decided to look for answers in Amy's cell phone. In her text with Jimmy, his controlling behavior was on full display. He had somehow been tracking Amy's every move. He would frequently text Amy her exact location and ask her...
It's disgusting, man, chat, like, that's another reason why, you feel me, I ain't trying to get in no relationships or anything like that. Like, just, like, when you get with a person, chat, there should already be a trust, like, the way I see it is like, man, I just don't need to be worrying about where you're at, and so like worrying about, oh, okay, we need is like, I don't need to know where you're at, you feel me, and you don't really need to know where I'm at, you feel me. Like, there should be a trust relationship that like, oh, okay, you know what's right, and you know what's right from wrong, you know what I'm saying? You know, not to be going, you feel me, if you're with me, not to be going to the parties and stuff like that and talking to other men and shit, flirting or entertaining anything. If somebody DM it, like, you just know what's right from wrong, you know what I'm saying? So like, there should already be a trust in a relationship. You bros over here tracking her like she's a dog or something, asking her exact location.
Why she was there. Despite all of Jimmy's torment, Amy seemed completely fine in her other conversations. This evidence strengthened the case against Jimmy, but the detectives still couldn't pinpoint an exact motive. That was until they looked through a conversation with a man named George. George was a married man from the East Coast that Amy had met online and had been texting for the past 3 years. Based on the explicit content of the messages, it was clear that they were having an affair. Even on
in the chat with this too. When it comes to, you know, cheating and stuff, I always say like, what, like if you're gonna cheat, just leave the relationship. Just tell your partner, I don't want to be with you anymore, and just leave. Just leave. Because when you cheat when you're out with your partner, you're just making it even worse. You're, for both the person you're cheating with and then also the person that you're with. It just doesn't make sense. Like, and if you really love a person, chat, I say with the cheating stuff, like if you really love a person, there's no way you would want to hurt them or do something like, you know, cheat to.
The day of the incident,
like,
Amy and George were consistently texting and calling each other. While Amy was having dinner with her family at 5:07 p.m., George texted her saying, "I wish we could be together right now." At 5:29 p.m., Amy responded with, "I'm excited to see you again." And remember when Amy began texting somebody during the argument at JR's Grill and Pub? It turns out that she was texting George, even with Jimmy sitting directly beside her. From these findings, a new theory emerged. Perhaps Jimmy had caught a glimpse of these text conversations and was overcome with anger, which ultimately led to him attacking Amy in the...
Yeah, that makes sense, chat. Some people just don't like chat. Some people don't play in relationships. Like, some people like would die for like love. Like, they would like literally like, bro, if this is the reason, the motive, like exact reason, like, but that's why like cheating is just so bad. Like, bro, people don't play about it. And like,
Jimmy some more questions, but they ran into a small problem. Jimmy was nowhere to be found. It turns out that just a few days after the incident, Jimmy and Ashley packed their belongings, including their 5 cats, and headed back to their hometown, Ocala, Florida, to stay with family. Thankfully, the authorities were easily able to get in touch with Jimmy to arrange another interview. He told them that he would be back in Michigan in a few weeks to grab some of his stuff. Since the Tecumseh Police Department had limited personnel and resources, the Michigan State Police had taken over the investigation, and Detective Larry Rothman was put on the case. 1 month after Amy's death, he met Jimmy at the station for a formal interview. During his stay in Florida, Jimmy had plenty of time to reflect on his relationship with Amy, and he was forthright with the detective about his shortcomings.
I wasn't so inner focused and self-focused, and maybe I could have seen some things that were going on that maybe could have clued me into what my wife was in so much turmoil that I couldn't even see it. I mean, that's how it feels. Like, I don't even know who I am.
It's hard to believe this statement from Jimmy, because moments later, when asked to describe himself, he gives an awfully detailed answer.
Describe yourself. What kind of a person are you?
I would say I'm a type A personality. I like structure, organization. I'm ambitious. Always seeking to improve myself and others around me. That's why all this is so pressing to me, is because...
Yeah, that sounds like AI, bro. Bro said, I'm a type A person. Type A. Yeah, it sounds like you've been using ChatGPT or something.
Because, like,
and really the fact that he thought about those things that quickly, that just, yeah.
In the last
he been preparing for the chat
to, like, make sure that myself, my family were like mentally healthy, like pursuing things that not only get you physical, like, but helping others, being kind, making it, like I said, making the same thing, that type of person I am, making a positive impact on people.
Without a doubt, Jimmy's obsession with creating the perfect family was immensely toxic. However, Jimmy seemed to take pride in this toxic
control. He's a control
framing
freak.
It as a strength. He believed that his role in the family...
When people like people who are very controlling, when they don't get their way, it just irks them. Like, it literally like hurts their soul. Like, it just starts like eating at them because they can't control it, because they need to control every situation, everything around them. And this is exactly it. Like,
hold them to a higher standard. No matter how much Jimmy painted himself as an upstanding family man, the detectives weren't buying it.
Looking back now, where you're at now, does anything pop out at you?
Yeah, there's, I mean, my wife had some issues, and
what kind of issues?
She struggled from like social anxiety, so she's been like that for years. She's just extremely shy, introverted person. She never developed relationships. Even when we were in Ocala, she didn't have any friends. She was playing like video games compulsively, that World of Warcraft thing.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, I'm kind of the same way, chat. Mind my business.
Herself,
Hey, video games.
and so I
Make videos, stream.
when we got up here to help her break out of it.
Jimmy is painting himself as a valiant savior, guiding his wife away from her
Yup,
bad
it sounds
habits
like, yeah.
towards a healthy lifestyle.
Bro just
But as
described
we
himself like
mentioned
he's
earlier,
perfect or
everybody
something.
who was
I haven't
close to
heard no
Amy
flaws or
said that
anything
Jimmy
from him.
was the main cause of her isolation. While asking Jimmy about infidelity in the relationship, he revealed that Amy wasn't the only one cheating.
There was one time when I went to the Isle of Man and hooked up with this chick.
Anytime during your marriage, do you know if she was unfaithful to you?
I don't think that would be possible.
Why is that?
She didn't seem to have the capacity to like talk to people, man. I mean, she was like incredibly introverted.
Clearly, Jimmy underestimated Amy's charm.
Oh, yeah,
Later
you
in
for
the
sure
interview,
did.
The detective set the record straight, bluntly
Right under your
telling Jimmy
nose.
that Amy was in fact having an affair.
What was your knowledge of her affair?
I don't think she had an affair. To my knowledge, I have no idea. I wouldn't think it was possible.
There was a lot of stuff that she had tried to delete there, but I mean, we're talking, telling this other guy she loves him.
I think that you're bullshit.
I'm not. I'm not gonna lie to you today, and I haven't. You know, so
I'll just tell you right now, I don't believe it.
Jimmy seemed to be in denial, so the detective printed off some excerpts from Amy's conversations with George, some more risque than others.
And then the chats lead up to the 14th, the same day that this happened. Clearly, there was something going on between these two people.
As someone who had a say in every aspect of Amy's life, he seemed completely blindsided by her secret life with George.
Yup, because he couldn't control it. You couldn't control it. You can't control if your partner's going to cheat or not. That's something that you can't control. You can't control it.
Wanted more answers.
Can you pull phone records to see if there's any numbers that I could see that I don't recognize? And that's like, to me, is crushing to think that she even has some alternate life. Like, I legitimately, I still don't all the way believe you guys. I don't think that she has the capacity to do that.
Oh, buddy, she did. She has the capacity to do it. She did it.
Like, I can't even process it.
In a last-ditch effort to elicit a confession, the detective asked Jimmy if he would take a polygraph test. Jimmy agreed and maintained his innocence the entire time. Ultimately, the test results were inconclusive. The detective wrapped up the interview, less certain about Jimmy's involvement than before. Jimmy was allowed to leave and he went back to Florida later that day. The police struggled to find any new leads, so they had no choice but to wait for the medical examiner to release Amy's autopsy report. That day finally came 3 months after Amy's death. It was confirmed that the cause of death was strangulation asphyxiation, but the manner of death was undetermined, requiring additional investigation. The ball was back in Detective Rothman's court, but finding more evidence to determine whether or not this was a homicide was easier said than done. He meticulously looked through all of the evidence.
What you mean?
Including the
What you
body
mean?
cam
More evidence that it's a homicide. What did the report say? Strangulation. What do you mean? What else do you need? He did it. Who else was there? So she strangled herself.
Under court done. He moment that Officer Horn noticed how low the basement ceiling was, and he suddenly had an idea. Rothman reached out to a forensic engineering lab in Michigan and asked them to recreate the scenario Jimmy had supposedly stumbled upon. After many months of preparation, testing, and analyzing the results, the lab determined that under the same circumstances, her feet would have made contact with the ground. A different forensic pathologist reviewed the same test results, and they determined that her manner of death must have been a homicide. On October 16, 2020, Jimmy was charged with 1 felony count of open murder. This meant that if the case went to trial, it would be up to the jury to determine the degree of homicide.
Oh, it's my first time ever hearing about something open murder. I didn't even know that was a thing.
First-degree murder. By this point in the investigation, it appeared
So
that
basically,
Jimmy,
his
who was
is
still
literally in the
staying with his
jury's
parents
hands.
in Florida,
Life.
had moved on entirely. In fact, he even had a new fiancée, and their wedding was just 5 days away.
Hold on, how fast did he get new? 2 years later? 2 years later? You're getting married already?
Jimmy was charged with 1 felony count of open murder. At this point in the investigation, it appeared that Jimmy, who was still staying with his parents in Florida, had moved on entirely. In fact, he even had a new fiancée, and their wedding was just 5 days away. But before they could tie the knot, Jimmy was arrested and extradited back to Michigan. Once he was booked into jail, he was brought into a room to have his charges explained.
This is really peak
when told
COVID,
that he
chat.
could contact
Peak
the
COVID 2020.
investigators if he had any questions, Jimmy said something peculiar.
If you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of us, or they can contact us. Okay?
Just how you sleep at night.
Well, I guess I don't understand that question.
What the fuck?
A few
I was
weeks later,
asking
at
about
his
how do you
arraignment
sleep at
hearing,
night?
Jimmy pled not guilty. His bond was set at $10 million, and he was put behind bars. Leading up
I know you don't got enough bread to pay that bond, my boy. I know you don't.
to his trial,
Damn.
his defense attorney Daniel Guerin released this statement. Mr. Allen vehemently asserts his innocence in this case, as he had absolutely nothing to do with Amy Allen's tragic death. He cooperated with police throughout the 2-year investigation and provided evidence and statements showing his innocence from the very beginning. He has been in jail for nearly a year for a crime he did not commit, and he misses his family dearly. He is looking forward to the evidence finally being shown to a jury of his peers so they can see clearly that he is innocent and did absolutely nothing wrong. In September of 2021, 3 years after Amy's death, his trial began.
Man, chat,
Prosecutor
COVID was
Angie Borders kicked off the opening
This is
statements.
crazy.
She
Like,
said,
man, like, chat, this is crazy. COVID was a crazy time, chat. Like, this, even though COVID is only like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, it's still crazy to me. Like, damn, like we really went through that. Like, wearing masks, social distance. Oh my god, I can't say it. Social distancing. Like, man, like school being not doing online school, all this Zoom stuff. Like, it's crazy, chat. Like how fast, like it's crazy,
that
man.
her team was confident that the evidence would point the jury to a guilty verdict. Defense attorney Daniel Guerin delivered the defense's opening statement, saying that there was no substantial evidence to support the prosecution's theory, and their case did not add up.
The people want you to believe that Jimmy Allen, for reasons nobody explains or guesses or understands why, snaps after 15 years of marriage, brutally kills his wife.
Chad, that was one thing about COVID. I remember doing my fault, chat, for possible. I remember doing COVID. Like, the crazy thing about COVID is like, because everybody was wearing masks, you could like see you feel me? You can see their eyes and stuff like that, and the hair, and they kind of like have their face. Like when people take out their mask, like, and you see them for the first time without the mask, it's like, damn, I didn't think you're gonna look like that. It just made you, because like with you not being able to see people's face with the mask, like you like kind of had to determine, like, man, what kind of face? Like you can't, like it was crazy, chat. Like, man,
and gets the police there at 8:52 to start showing them evidence of this hanging.
They also pointed to Jimmy's search history that night, suggesting that murder was the last thing on Jimmy's mind.
The phone searches they get from Jimmy's phone that shows that he's looking at searches for Jim Carrey movies and other Showtime shows, the exact shows that he had told police that night that he had watched.
One of the key witnesses for the prosecution was Amy's son, Caleb. He told the court about an altercation with Jimmy while he still lived at home.
I stood up, pushed him against the wall, and there was a second of fear that came over me, and I realized what I was doing, and I let up, and then I was spun around, or maybe I turned around, and then I was choked from behind on the floor for multiple seconds. It felt like forever during the incident, and I was gasping for air, grabbing for anything, trying to get away from him.
This story suggested that Jimmy had a history of choking people when he got angry. If he was willing to choke Caleb, it's reasonable to assume that he was willing to choke Amy as well. Several witnesses that were at the scene that night were also called to the stand, including first responders and neighbors. They all testified that Jimmy's over-the-top reactions seemed like he was putting on an act.
yes.
Jimmy's behavior throughout the body cam footage supported this. There were several moments where he would be sobbing uncontrollably,
This is terrible.
but would instantly compose himself to answer the officer's questions.
I gotta talk to the cops.
On top of Jimmy's questionable behavior, Officer Horn also noted that Amy's injuries did not align with Jimmy's story.
I was definitely looking for any injuries, whether it be from a hang or otherwise, and I really didn't see any sort of the typical injuries that I would have seen in a hanging, so I definitely took note of that.
Later in the trial, a hospital staff member that treated Amy agreed with Officer Horn's observations, saying that the lack of external injuries suggested foul play.
No visible injuries.
No visible injuries. Is that strike you as odd?
It was a red flag.
One witness that nobody expected was none other than Mystery Man George.
And was there an occasion where you came to know a person that...
George, who?
None other than Mystery Man George.
Is that is this the guy she was cheating on with?
And was there an occasion where you came to know a person that we on the internet?
Yes. We spoke online often. We
Okay, Chad, this is
talked
him.
about life. We also, there was a little bit of sexual content. That's what we talked about.
For the most
Chad, this is disgusting. Like, cheating is just so disgusting to me. Like, Chad, they're both, like, when they were both married. Like, it's just crazy. Like, man, like, it's just crazy to me, Chad, how people can just, like,
George
cheat.
and Amy
Like, it's
communicated
just...
through text and video calls. But the more they got to know each other, the more eager they were to see each other in person.
Now, had you ever met Amy in person?
Yes, twice.
The first time the two met up was in spring of 2017 to grab some coffee. The second time was several months later when Amy
This is
met
crazy
George
to me.
in
Like, y'all
hotel
have families and
I was here
kids.
for work, and she had some free time, so she came to the hotel.
So you're at a hotel.
Yes.
Did things that happen at a hotel happen at that hotel?
Some things, yes.
Apparently, George and Amy's love for each other only grew as time went on. Even on the day of her death, Amy showed no signs of wanting to slow down.
I wrote, I love you. And I wrote, I want more of you. And she wrote, I love you too. I'm ready to spend time with you in person. And I wrote, good. Let's do it. And then she wrote, end of October. And I wrote, I'm in.
Dr. Elizabeth Buck also played a crucial role in the process.
Like, Chad, imagine like the family of him, his family, his wife and his kids, and like, cause I know for sure he didn't say anything about, oh, I was texting. He's not going to tell his wife, his current wife, oh yeah, by the way, I was talking to this one lady and she ended up passing away. I'm telling you right now, when he got caught in, he's like, oh, I got caught in for investigation. She like, what? And when they seen this, oh, it was done. He's done. Kids don't always, it's raps.
Her
like,
testimony. She took
this is the exact same thing that basically happened, like, not all the murder and stuff, but cheating, like, with the at the cosplay event, like,
through the
bro.
extension cord experiment we mentioned earlier.
The first question that Detective Rothman asked was, can an extension cord suspend 140 pounds? The testing was performed. The answer is no.
According to the prosecution, the results of her tests were more than enough to debunk Jimmy's story. When it was the defense's turn to call witnesses, they had Jimmy's father testify. According to him, Jimmy didn't flee the state because he was guilty. It was because Jimmy's family urged him to stay with them in Florida.
He seemed somewhat composed, but totally shattered, and almost empty, if you would.
Yeah, that southern accent, Chad. Oh,
before since.
Man.
He was almost non-responsive. He seemed to have lost interest in anything.
Ashley also testified on her father's behalf. The day after the incident, she had said that her mother had always been stable. But now, 3 years later, her story had completely changed.
Did you notice anything from your vantage point that was a problem that you behaviors or issues that you saw when your mom was drinking alcohol?
Two things. Yes, my mother overindulged in alcohol frequently, and she became intoxicated very easily and frequently as well, which would cause her to be not herself at all. She would be meaner and more violent.
When Amy was placed under intensive care, her blood alcohol content was recorded at 0.09%, likely caused by the 2 or 3 drinks that she consumed at the bars that night. The defense said that this was proof of Amy's drinking problem and that she wasn't as chipper as the prosecution had suggested. They also questioned the forensic pathologist who claimed that this was a homicide. To dispute this notion, the defense had actually reached out to their own expert, Dr.
I don't know how much evidence, Chad. I'm sorry. I don't know how much evidence they need for this to be guilty. He said that she hanged herself. She didn't hang herself. Where was she? Where's the stuff that she hanged? Where's the extension cord? Where is the thing hanging for her to hang herself? Where is it? In the report, it said strangulation. If the stuff, if she didn't strangle herself, who else did it? Like, I'm just like,
According
right
to
there.
Dr. Diaz, since there was minimal bleeding to the strap muscles of the neck, no petechiae, and no evidence of defensive-type injuries, he believed that Amy's death was not the result of somebody else's actions. The defense had called all of their witnesses, but they had a lot more to say in their closing arguments. They said that the prosecution's case was utter speculation, and the fact that Jimmy had 0 defensive marks on him was proof of that.
Anyone puts you in a chokehold, you're going to scratch the you-know-what out of his arms. Because you're fighting for life, you're fighting for that air hunger, and you're trying to stay alive.
They also said that even though Amy and George's relationship seemed to be flourishing, it was actually just a fantasy, an escape from the dejected state of mind that plagued Amy's life.
You know, the people want to say this was sort of this thing she was looking forward to break free. It was 3 years. 3 years. And they have 3 years to meet, and they meet one time for 2 hours. She was not talking to her family. She was isolated. She didn't have a job. She was socially anxious. And that is not to beat up Amy Allen. It is to tell you that she was living sort of a double parallel life. And we believe the fuse was lit. And we had, unfortunately, isolation, drinking, odd behavior, the guilt of a very graphic and long-term affair unbeknownst to Jimmy and his daughter, that ultimately led to her very sad and tragic death on Friday, September 14th of 2018.
Both sides rested their case. Jimmy's fate was now in the hands of the jury. After about 6 hours of deliberations, they had their verdict.
You do say upon your oaths that you find the defendant guilty of the lesser offense of second-degree murder.
After this verdict, Jimmy didn't seem to know what to do with himself. He wandered aimlessly for a bit, and when it was time to be booked into the jail, he bashfully waved goodbye to his family. On October 21st, 2021, Jimmy was sentenced to 20 to 45 years in prison in the Michigan Department of Corrections. He currently resides at the St. Louis Correctional Facility and will be eligible for parole in the year 2040.
Chad, this was a crazy video. I just don't understand how much evidence they needed from. Like, obviously, the son said that he choked him before. The report said strangulation. There's no evidence pointing towards suicide. So, like, who else did it? It was him. Like, but Chad, this is just so disgusting. And an RIP to the mom. Like, she did not deserve this at all. This was just a very sad, toxic relationship. I mean, obviously he cheated and then she cheated. Had kids at a young age, which is not, you feel me? It end day is what it is. But it's just and it looks like he was such a controlling figure in that relationship, and it probably just stressed her out, and it took so much that, and it just talking about alcohol, so she probably used that for coping medicine as well, and she just wanted to get out of the relationship. That's why she was probably talking to the man, talking to George and stuff like that. But Chad, this is just sad, and this is a RIP to the lady, and then just prayers go up to the family and stuff like that.